Every single second, millions of posts, videos, and articles flood the Indian internet, overwhelming traditional systems of oversight. To manage this flow, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has introduced the 2026 Draft Amendments, marking a pivot in how the state regulates online spaces. Under the 2021 IT rules, the internet was divided by legal firewalls. Intermediary platforms, recognized digital publishers, and everyday users were treated as distinct entities with different rules. These amendments dissolve that historical architecture and erase the dividing lines. The draft creates a unified regulatory perimeter, pulling platforms, publishers, and ordinary users into one compliance ecosystem. By collapsing these boundaries, the rules subject a standard news post to the same regulatory oversight as a traditional media outlet. For decades, platforms survived under the Information Technology Act of 2000 through the principle of safe harbor. If they performed statutory due diligence, they were immune from liability for what their users posted. Now, that due diligence requires strict adherence to an expanded list of MiT directives, including standard operating procedures, advisories, and codes of practice. Adhering to these mandates functions as the absolute legal prerequisite for maintaining safe harbor. If a platform fails to comply, they lose that protection, exposing themselves to direct legal liability for every piece of user-generated content they host. Three distinct shifts threaten this status: the regulation of user-generated news, a clash over data retention, and mandates for AI content labeling. Intermediaries now maintain their immunity only through the continuous performance of technical and administrative mandates. The pressure begins with the expansion of Rules 8, 14, 15, and 16. Previously, these provisions applied exclusively to recognized digital media entities. Now, ordinary citizens uploading news fall under this strict framework. This cascades. Social media intermediaries hosting their content immediately inherit publisher-tier compliance responsibilities. To oversee this expanded ecosystem, the government has strengthened the role of the Interdepartmental Committee, or IDC. The IDC can now hear complaints directly, intervene when platforms miss timelines, and examine matters referred from MiT. Social media platforms are now directly answerable to an empowered central government committee for the everyday news posts of ordinary citizens. The second major shift creates a sharp collision between these new IT rules and India's existing data privacy architecture. Under the 2023 Digital Personal Data Protection Act, users can request their data be deleted once it no longer serves its original purpose. The 2026 IT rules impose an opposing mandate. Intermediaries are legally compelled to strictly preserve user information and maintain evidentiary records. Consider the conflict when a user requests their profile data be erased, while a regulatory investigation requires that same data be held. Retention obligations for law enforcement supersede a user's right to deletion under the DPDPA. This places a heavy burden on platform engineers, who must now build dual-track data architectures to balance deletion requests against mandatory legal holds. Data deletion requests cannot be used to circumvent statutory evidence collection. The most technically demanding mandate of the 2026 amendments centers on the regulation of AI-generated content. The previous regulatory baseline required AI content labels to be visible when a user first encountered the media. The proposed amendment to Rule 3 dictates that labels must be displayed continuously and clearly throughout the entire duration of the visual media. Platforms must move away from simple HTML text boxes and implement persistent, frame-by-frame algorithmic tracking and watermarking to keep the disclosure locked to the content. This new requirement directly addresses growing international concerns regarding the rapid spread of deepfakes, manipulated media, and emerging threats to election integrity. This mandate embeds the fight against misinformation into the platform's core code as a continuous computational requirement. The entire weight of this AI mandate rests on a single definitional pivot, Rule 2WA, which outlines what constitutes synthetically generated information. Statutory criteria define this as media algorithmically altered to appear real, making it indistinguishable from a natural person or real-world event. Almost all modern digital media uploaded today utilizes some form of background algorithmic processing or enhancement just to render correctly. Clause A provides a carve-out for routine technical corrections, like color adjustment. Clause B exempts educational preparation and templates using illustrative content. Clause C exempts tools used solely to improve accessibility, transcription, or searchability. The legal boundary separating a protected vlogger from a deepfake distributor hinges on a platform's ability to accurately categorize the user's technical intent at scale. The liability for user news, the data retention mandates, and AI labeling requirements converge into a single enforcement model. These amendments integrate intermediaries directly into the state's digital enforcement mechanism. For platform trust and safety and compliance engineering teams, this requires arbitrating complex legal and technical boundaries in real time across millions of distinct uploads. While ordinary users and bloggers possess theoretical exemptions regarding their minor AI use and content creation, the actual legal risk sits with the platform. The financial and legal burden of enforcing India's unified digital ecosystem rests on the technical architecture of the intermediaries.